good time to stop it. I just don't keep pressing. Just stop it. Try to find another time you can revisit, but always leave as friends. I try to make that. And I try to make that a personal mission. When I leave this conversation, no matter what differences we have, no matter how much this person is fault, no matter what the reservations are, I want to leave as friends.
Well, that's good because I think if you don't leave the open door, then they won't come back, but they could come back and talk to you if you keep it positive, you know.
Absolutely.
So you got pray, prepare, and then do that open door, prep the soil, you might say, if we want to use the peas.
Absolutely.
And then,
Absolutely.
well, and I always talk to people, so many Christians, and I would put it in quotation marks, argue, argue, argue. And there's just not enough Christians, obviously. If you took all people who said they were Christians, it's still not enough people. There's still like billions of people who are not Christians. So you gotta, don't, like you were saying, don't take so much time. You just don't cast those pearls before swine. Essentially, just say, look, I've done all I can do here. There's a lot more people who want to hear it, right?
Absolutely.
That's good. So tell us what happened in that story, man.
So so I meet this young man. He, Titus, you it's where I've seen this in my studies. I've seen people who are so zealous to know truth, and it's just not someone who wants to obey the gospel just so they can see, what the church is going to do for them, or see can somebody pay a bill, or this, that, and the other. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but we experience that a lot, in certain areas, in certain cities, and with certain demographics. As far as neighborhood types and socioeconomic status and things of that nature. But you can when you've got that genuine good soil that's really seeking, knocking, and asking. And we know what Jesus said in Matthew 7:7. Jesus said, anybody that's seeking, it shall be given to them. If you knock, the door's going to be open. They ask, they're going to receive. If they seek, they're going to find. And so you have that good soil, and you're just like, man, okay, this is a great candidate. So I met this young man, and he was extremely zealous to try to find what was right and what was true. And so that was a very, very good study for me. We met, and we talked just for a few moments, and we exchanged numbers. And so he contacted me. We talked and we talked, we emailed, we text, we talked, we studied, and we studied. And Titus, what I did, because he had gone through so many. Which of these is right? You know, is it Baptist? Is it Presbyterian? Is it Methodist? Is it Catholic? Is it Hindu? Is it Hebrew Israelitism? Is it Islam? I mean, he had gone through the gambit, right? And I'm just like, man, he's inundated with a ton of false information. So just using my plan, I said, okay, I understand that he has really overwhelmed himself with information. So I just simply talked to him and led him through the gospel. And it was simply about salvation. I made it about salvation. I didn't make it about any one group. I didn't make it about any one belief. I simply made it about salvation. Do you believe that there's something after this? Right? Yeah, I believe that's why I've been searching. I'm searching. I do believe. Okay. And then we started talking, and I really just, it took me. I wasn't able to use my scripted uh, process immediately, but I finally got him there. I finally got him to where, okay, now I can teach him the gospel. And man, he is one of the most faithful Christians you
Oh,
want to see
nice.
right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Well, so it took, you never know. You never
right.
know who you run into. And you were ready. So you had probably prayed about it. You probably
Absolutely,
prepared for it. And you would have left an open door if he was arguing with you, probably.
absolutely,
So what,
absolutely.
do you have another story possibly
I
coming to
do,
mind?
I do, I
Okay.
do. This one's interesting. I was thinking about two of them, Titus, and I actually wanted to talk about one because I don't have success all the time. Like, first of all, I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Um, More jump off the line than stay with me. I'll just be honest. Jesus said, "I'll make you fishers of men," and he was not kidding. More jump off the line than stay, and I'm subject to it. So number one, don't be discouraged. All right, don't
Right.
be discouraged. You know, even if no one accepts it, you've simply done what God asked you to do. God said, you catch them, I'll clean them. God didn't tell me to save anyone, right? He just told me to preach the word, and that's all I do. So I want to tell you about this one story that that wasn't successful. I think it was successful, but so we're in Belize, and we're doing a mission trip in Belize, and we're helping a church there. We're doing a vacation Bible school for the neighborhood children during the day, and I'm preaching a gospel meeting at night during rainy season. So if you understand anything about the tropics and rain, it's crazy. So I'm doing a gospel meeting at night, and we're doing a vacation Bible school for kids during the day. And in between, but the vacation Bible school and the gospel meeting, we're evangelizing. We're knocking doors. We're walking around. We're inviting people. And I mean, and they're receptive. They're coming. Right? They're coming. I mean, it's amazing. Well, we're staying in this. We're staying in this. It's supposed to be like one of the top scale hotels there. Yeah. So we're staying in a hotel. There's a gentleman there, Titus, that he sees us. He comes down to our breakfast because we're getting ready. We're at the hotel during breakfast during the day, and then we have to walk to the church building and get VBS. So we're down and doing breakfast. He comes down. He's a white gentleman, and he comes down. He says, and he's English, and so he says, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" I was like, "Hey, man, we're doing a gospel meeting, and we're here evangelizing. We're here working. We're from the States, and we're here just trying to teach people about Jesus, man, just trying to save some souls." He's like, "That's interesting, man." He said, "I don't believe in God." I said, "You don't?" He said, "No, I don't believe in God." He said, "But listen," he said, "I'm not one of those people." He said, "Hey, he said, whatever you need to do to make it through this life," he said, "I'm fine with that." So I said, "Okay, that's fair." And we had to leave, and I told him, I said, "Well, maybe we'll meet up again." And he was like, "Surely." As Providence will have it, I was sitting getting some food between our door knocking, and once we complete our door knocking, we had rest time before the gospel meeting. So I was in the middle of the rest time. I was going to get me something to eat at the restaurant at the hotel because that's pretty much the only place we could eat. So he comes up to me. He says, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I was like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on, man?" He said, "Oh, nothing much." He said, "You got time to talk?" "Yeah, sure, man, sure." He said, "Prove to me that your God exists." And so now we have an hour-long Bible study, right, about whether or not my God exists. And it was an interesting, I mean, when we finished the discussion, he told me, and by the way, I said all that to bring you to this point. He ended up being very high in FIFA. He was there training the Belizean the national soccer team. I had no clue who this guy was.
Yeah.
And so I Googled him, and I couldn't believe it. His name was Stephen Constantine. If you want to Google that gentleman, he's very high in FIFA. And so at the end of the study, and here's why I'm so glad I was prepared, because I couldn't use. He would have, if I tried to use the Bible to prove the Bible, he was gonna blame me for using circular reasoning and that, he doesn't believe in the Bible. So I already knew that. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to use some apologetics or some Christian evidences. And so I end up using the moral argument, and I end up using Hitler and the Holocaust. And he told me, he said, "I've lived in 21 countries. I've seen every religion you can pretty much think of." He said, "I've seen the atrocities that religion has caused to this world."
You've been listening to Be Brave. The world right now is a crazy place, and sharing the love of God is the most important thing we can do right now. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit up gobebrave.org. Remember, the love of God is the most powerful force in the universe. Learn how to love like Jesus. See you next time.